Hello everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Everybody's got good audio. I had to move some stuff, so don't want to mess with your guys' stuff. So everybody's good? All right, I have a prepared statement that I'll read, and then I'll try to answer whatever questions I can answer if you have any questions. So we'll start with the statement. Good afternoon. I am Doug Stevens, Chief of the Littleton Police Department. Thank you for coming today. I'd like to provide an update on our injured officer, the status of the investigation, and thank the public for the tremendous outpouring of support they have shared with him and with our department. 2 nights ago at approximately midnight, our officers responded to a call of shots fired in the area of West Powers Avenue and South Bannock Street. Officer David Snook and Corporal Jeff Farmer located parties involved in the incident and attempted to contact them. As the officers approached, one suspect fled on foot and the officers pursued. As one suspect entered the apartment building at 183 West Powers Avenue, he turned and fired multiple rounds from a handgun, striking Officer Snook several times. Despite being gravely wounded, Officer Snook was able to return fire. Corporal Farmer also returned fire as he attempted to get to Officer Snook. Despite the great danger, Officer Farmer was able to pull Officer Snook out of the line of fire to a safer position. Simultaneously, another officer arrived on scene and assisted Officer Farmer in getting Officer Snook into a police vehicle for immediate transport to the hospital. Unfortunately, during this emergency rescue and evacuation of the officer, the suspect escaped and has not yet been located. Officer Snook received multiple gunshot wounds to his arm, leg, and torso. He was shot more than 3 times and sustained severe injuries. Officer Snook is improving, but remains in intensive care. Corporal Farmer was also injured during this incident as he attempted to help Officer Snook. He is recovering at home. On behalf of the men and women of the Littleton Police Department and of the entire Littleton community, I want to thank the staff of Swedish Hospital for their heroic work in treating Officer Snook. They are true heroes for what they do, and we are all eternally grateful. Many have asked how to help Officer Snook and his family during his recovery. A fund has been established in his name at the Rocky Mountain Law Enforcement Federal Credit Union. Donations may be made at any Colorado credit union in David Snook's name. I cannot express how proud I am of the heroic actions of these officers, as well as those of all the men and women of our department who did not hesitate to take action to keep our community safe. Being a police officer today is incredibly tough, and while many are turning away from our profession, our officers continue to risk their lives as they exemplify everything that is good about being a police officer and serving our community. Officer David Snook is a decorated 13-year veteran of our department. He's a loving husband and dedicated father to 3 young children. Corporal Jeff Farmer is also a dedicated 15-year veteran, a devoted husband, and caring father. Both officers have dedicated their entire careers to the Littleton community. At the officers' request, we will not be releasing their photos at this time. Thanks to the tireless efforts and work of our investigators, with a great deal of help from multiple local and federal agencies, the suspect in this case has been identified as 33-year-old Rigoberto Velez Dominguez. He is an Hispanic male, 5 foot 5 inches tall, 190 pounds, with brown eyes and short buzz-cut brown hair. He has several tattoos, including a skull on his right forearm and a saint on his left forearm. We have reason to believe he was involved in a subsequent carjacking a few blocks away from the initial shooting scene several hours later. The vehicle taken is a sand gray 2002 Ford Explorer with Colorado plate AGM D94. The vehicle should have a smashed driver's window. Rigoberto Velez Dominguez is to be considered armed and extremely dangerous. If you see Dominguez, do not attempt to contact him. If anyone has any information on the whereabouts of Dominguez, the whereabouts of the stolen vehicle, or any information on the shooting or carjacking, please contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-STOP. That's 720-913-7867. You can remain anonymous and receive a reward of up to $10,000. I want to thank everyone in the community who has expressed their love, thoughts, and prayers for Officer Snook and for our department during this very trying time. We simply could not do what we do without your support and appreciation. Thank you. Finally, I want to thank the numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement partners who have all come together in our common goal of identifying, locating, and bringing to justice the coward responsible for these crimes. Again, if you know anything that may assist in this investigation, please contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-STOP, and I'll take questions.
Is the suspicion now that this suspect that you're looking for, was he just hiding out in the area where this carjacking took place less than a block from where your offices were?
The question was, do we believe this suspect may have been hiding out for several hours in this area before the carjacking? And I think that's a logical assumption. We did our best with tactical teams to search the entire area, including multiple apartments in that area, and before we released the scene. But it is logical to believe that he was secreted somewhere in the neighborhood and then was later involved in a subsequent carjacking.
What about the second suspect?
Second suspect is not, has been, well, we did identify other people. I can't tell you for sure. I'm not positive if it was the second person initially contacted. We do have people that we've been interviewing. No one is in custody at this time. We're looking for one at this time.
Will you release a photo of the suspect that whose name you released?
Yes, we do have a press release. We have all the photos and information on the vehicle and the suspect, as well as the information I just shared.
What kind of history does he have, and was he known to the Littleton Police Department before this?
I'm not sure on his criminal history, and I do not know if we had any prior contacts with him.
Can you describe how this?
We are looking for someone for the attempted murder of the two officers, and that's the warrant that has been issued for Mr. Dominguez. At this point, no one else was involved in that particular crime, so that's why we're only looking for him at this point. We do believe that we have enough. We do have witnesses, some witnesses that have helped us in this investigation, so no one else is considered a criminal suspect at this time.
But both were in the vehicle and both fled the scene, correct? But only one shot back at those officers?
Yes.
And any other charges you're considering?
I'm unsure at this time.
Can you describe how the search is going, what you've done, what you intend to do? Do you have any good leads? Do you think you're getting closer?
Well, we have relied on our partnerships with other metro area law enforcement agencies, including federal agencies, that have helped us with fugitive task forces. They have a number of methods that they utilize that I'm not going to disclose, that they've been doing for the past 24 hours plus to attempt to locate Mr. Dominguez. We were able to identify him through cooperation, like I said, of some witnesses, as well as canvassing the area for video and other types of media to be able to identify who he is. We also had officers that were able to identify him based on some of the evidence that we recovered.
Yesterday we were told no immediate threat to the community or the public. Today, this guy's armed and dangerous. You should not approach him. What do you say to people who live in that area who are nervous he might still be hanging around?
Correct. Yeah, so yesterday when we made the statement about no immediate threat, we have an obligation, obviously, during that tactical situation right after that to do our best to secure the community. That's very also, it's a balancing act with disruption to life for people. And so we do our best during that incident to secure the perimeter of a location, including at this point we sent out previous night, we sent out a reverse 911, a shelter in place notification, trying to keep everybody safe while we're checking the area for the suspect or suspects. There comes a time when we've exhausted our reasonable efforts to do that several hours into it. Also, given the time of day we were getting into with people coming, waking up and going to work and getting on with their lives, we felt that we had done all we could reasonably do at that time to secure the area and we needed to let people get on with their lives, and we felt like we could do that relatively safely. The fact that he was still in that area and we believe committed, is alleged to have committed or suspected of committed an carjacking, an armed carjacking that occurred approximately 12 hours after the original shooting. Based on that behavior, obviously it could be assumed that at least at that time he was still in this area, and at that time, yes, he did pose a threat to the community. He continues to pose a threat to the community. Like I said, he should be considered armed and extraordinarily dangerous. If you see him or you know where he is, do not attempt to contact him. Call Crime Stoppers. I do not know. I do not know anything about the vehicle that was recovered other than the original vehicle that was related to a potential shots fired from a vehicle has been recovered. We do have that vehicle. I do not know if the vehicle was stolen.
Were there shots fired from the carjacking?
We believe one shot was fired during the carjacking. No one was injured.
The air kind of thing? Is that what you're thinking?
I believe that the window of the vehicle may have been shot out. The driver's side window on the vehicle may have been shot out.
I remember being there. No one. There were so many of us there. No one heard a shot. How does that happen?
Well, the area of the carjacking was near basically Broadway and Littleton Boulevard, so there's a lot of ambient noise over there, a lot of vehicle traffic. It's very possible, based on my experience, around those types of things, that a single shot may go off and may be mistaken for something else. It may not have been as loud as people would believe it would be. It could be drowned out by the regular noise of the neighborhood.
Was there any video in that area where the carjacking took place? Any surveillance cameras?
I do not know. That's something, surveillance cameras and video is something that our investigators always look for in any crime of this nature, and I'm sure that we are taking steps to recover any video that we may be available. Corporal Farmer was not shot. He was hurt during the incident. He has a significant injury to his knee. It's my understanding the victim of the carjacking was not injured.
Was he in the car when the shot was fired through the windshield?
I can't be sure on that. Our investigators know, but I haven't been briefed to that point.
Is Officer Snook up and talking, and have you been able to speak with him?
So I was able to talk with Officer Snook briefly yesterday. He's been heavily sedated. He's conscious and able to talk to us. So we're very thankful that he is doing better today, getting a little better every day. He still has significant injuries. Like I said, he's still in the intensive care unit. Again, we're very thankful to the staff at Swedish Hospital for their amazing work. They're great people, true professionals, so we're very thankful for that. He has a long road ahead of him for recovery, and they're a very private family, so we had to really convince him today to release his name and information. He's very concerned about his family and their privacy, as is Corporal Farmer, so that's the reason we don't have pictures. Although I like his picture for the department because it's kind of old and he looks younger, so I think he would like us if we released it, but we just are not going to do that at this point.
You said he's decorated. Can you kind of tell us what he's done for the department?
I don't have specifics on those incidents, but like all the men and women at Littleton Police Department, he's done some amazing work over his career and has received commendations and awards for that work, as has Corporal Farmer.
A father of three, this has to be difficult for the family. How's the wife and the children? How are they doing?
So I've had the opportunity to speak with his wife, and she's, again, an amazingly strong person. I would be a blubbering mess if I was in that position, and she's doing very well. Very stressful situation, obviously, for anybody having to go through this, and it takes a major toll on her and her family, and him and his family, as well as Corporal Farmer and his family. We talk about our profession being dangerous, and we train for it, but until you're in a situation like that, you don't know how you're going to react and how your family's going to react, and it's very hard. And one thing that we do and that we support here in Littleton is we have a very strong support services for all of our personnel, psychological support services and counseling, and we provide that for all of our personnel, and we are offering that to Officer Snook and Corporal Farmer, their families, and all of our personnel to help get through the trauma of this event.
Chief, was the car that was stolen, has it been recovered?
The carjacking car has not been recovered at this time. We do have photos of that, at least a rear photo of that vehicle with the license plate that has been distributed or will be distributed to you.
Where did you get these photos of the suspect? Where was he seen?
I do not know for sure on where those photos came from.
Your officers wear body cameras?
We do not have body-worn video in Littleton yet. We're in the process of acquiring that.
And just to be clear, you're searching for one suspect, which is the suspect that shot at the officers, not a second suspect.
That is correct. At this point, we are only looking for Mr. Dominguez in relation to this crime.
Your police vehicles have cameras.
We have no video in our police vehicles or body-worn for our personnel at this time.
Do you have any reason to believe that the other person involved could also be dangerous or in any way?
I do not. I have not been briefed on the status of the second individual, only that we are currently only looking for Mr. Dominguez.
Do we know if that second individual is a male or female?
I am unsure.
Chief, do you know if there was any video that captured the suspect running into the apartment building or any video inside the building of what happened, what transpired?
And I have not been briefed to that level in this investigation, so there may be video. There may be also video, and again, when we're asking for the public's assistance in not only locating Mr. Dominguez or the now carjacked vehicle, but also there's always like Ring doorbells or other kinds of video out there that people have that we may not have been around to try to collect yet. If we haven't contacted you and you feel like you may have captured anything in relation to any of these incidents, please call Metro Area Crime Stoppers at 720-913-STOP and provide them that information, and we will have an investigator contact you and collect that information.
Do you know if the vehicle that was recovered was stolen or did someone own that?
I do not believe it was stolen, but I am not entirely sure.
So just one carjacking 12 hours after the shooting.
That's correct.
Do you know if the suspect is from the area or which town he may have last lived in?
I have seen some information. He may have recently moved to the Littleton area near where this incident occurred. I have nothing further than that. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone, for coming. Again, we appreciate your help in helping us locate this individual and for getting Officer Snook and Corporal Farmer's story out there. It's a dangerous job, and they're true heroes for what they've done. And we want to thank everyone for the support that they've provided to them and their families and to our department. So really appreciate it. Thank you.